Welcome back everyone, Adzi here, and we've got some more happenings on the workbench. So what we have here, this is an ICS M4 platform. So this is one of the ones with the split gearboxes, which we'll have a look at in just a moment. The reason this is here is because it has got the classic problem that I've seen many times with these, of the hop chamber failing. And by that, it's some of the little bits that hold the wheel on the inside of it, which I'll show you more detail in just a second. They start to crumble and fall apart. They always do this with age. It's something that happened to my one, which I just happen to have to hand here. This one is ancient, this little toy of mine. And I've done the same in here, so you'll notice that that has a blue hop chamber in it. That's far from the standard original, because the original hop chambers in these is a proprietary one due to the shape of the lower receiver, which we're going to go into more detail in a bit. And it doesn't allow you to fit something like that in there just as a standard replacement. So there's a few things we're going to do and we're going to cover in this video to show you how to repair your one, if you have one, and if you're suffering with the same problem. So let's have a closer look at the hop chamber. So to open these up, obviously we remove the rear pin, and nice and easy with these ICS split ones is it'll just hinge open like so. So from there you better pull the upper gearbox out. Now we're not going to worry too much about that for what we're doing here, because the bit I want to show you is, and if we take the hop chamber out, which is as simple as that, it's this bit at the back here. So can you see in here, these little kind of flappy bits here, they're missing from the top, because they should be all the way around. Now just for reference, here's one that's come out of one of the other toys that we've got on the wall, which hasn't broken yet. So this, and if we can see, get some light in there, can we see? That's got the little fins all the way around, whereas the one that we're replacing has not. There we are, can we see that? So what that basically means is that hot wheel starts to wobble around, and that doesn't then help with the hot being applied. So it's basically knackered, so we have to replace it. And I'm sure in time this one will die at some point, so I'll be doing the same to this soon, but we haven't got to worry about that one now. But the trouble we have is this is designed to fit this, because of the shape of it. We're going to go and look at that in just a second. So we can't just drop in another hop chamber, unfortunately. And there's no point buying another one of these, because it would just break again. So the replacement hop chamber we're going to use is this one. Now the reason they don't fit is if we compare that to that, you see the base of it, it's a lot chunkier here. Now it doesn't fit inside the lower receiver, because if we separate these two, in here, like a lot of other M4 style receivers don't have, is this has got this section that sticks out across here. So effectively when that sits in, it has the space to sit in the position that it needs to in there, whereas the moment you start having something like this, it don't fit and it sits too far back, so it doesn't line up with the mag. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of this out with the Dremel, because it doesn't need it. And this is what I've done on my one, so I know it works absolutely fine. And then once we've done that, that'll allow us to use a different hop chamber like this in there, and we can eliminate this kind of classic problem that those ICS hops always seem to have. So next step is going to be to take this little bit off here. So it's screwed in there. Brilliant, there goes the screwdriver. However, we got it out. So we'll take that off. Now we're going to unscrew that bit later on, because we're going to still want the little bolt stop, which doesn't really do anything on this toy. So we're going to take that out, just so we can reuse that bit in the side there to keep it looking proper without all the arm on there, because there's going to be nothing for that to attach to in a moment. Now, before we start dremeling everything, there's one thing we're going to point out, and that is we do not want any of the swarf or cut off bits that we're going to create the dust from dremeling this front bit getting into the gearbox. Now, two ways you can do it. Now, normally what I would do is I would take the gearbox and everything out of here. However, I thought what I'd do for this time, just in case there's someone out here who's watching this that's perhaps not overly confident taking the gearbox out of the gun, cover it. So I've done that just for a bit of a plastic bag, wrap some tape round, so none of the dirt or stuff that we're going to create by cutting this is going to get in there, because we do not want it getting in there, because that would cause problems. So that's all covered, all protected. We're just going to cut this little bit off the front here now to make space for the new hop chamber. Right, so there you have it. So we've dug all of that bit out around the front there, and you can see, look at all the stuff on here. So you can see how important it is to either thoroughly cover that or take it out. Take it out probably is a better option. I know we've wrapped it on this occasion, but I've done that just as a demo, just so hopefully if the video is out there and people are watching it and someone wants to try and do what we're doing and they're not confident enough to remove that, you've seen it can be done. So that's there. So that's all out now, so we can see that's nice and square. So that, if you look at many other M4 receivers from different brands that aren't ICS, you'll find that a lot of them are kind of that sort of shape anyway, without the extra bits like these ones have. So we're going to try and put all this back together after cleaning it up, of course, with the new hop chamber in, and then I'll show you it working. Right, with the new hop chamber mounted onto the barrel, that's ready to go back in. But just before we do that, what I'm going to just quickly show you, now that we've got taken this off, obviously this is to be no earthly use to anyone from now. I'm going to take that off because that's so easy to do when it's broken. Can you see those fins there? That's the reason it needed replacing, just in a bit more detail. There you go. So yeah, basically renders that totally useless. So that's gone. Let's put all this back in the receiver now. So let's reattach these. Right, at this point, don't forget we still want our little bolt stop, just because it completes the look of everything. So let's put that in there. That on there. Let's get the pin in. There we go. And then what we want to do is just make sure that that hop chamber is, with the spring that's on it, is pushing it all the way back to make proper contact with the gearbox. Because if that sits too loose in there and sits too far forward, it's going to cause an air seal break between the nozzle and the hot rubber. So you just want to make sure it's all the way back. So yeah, that's in there. Let's see if that works now. Okay, so we're all back together. We'll give it a quick test. Now we've got 0.4 gram BBs because this is a DMR, this particular one. So let's just throw a few rounds through the chrono. Nice. So that went quite well, nice and consistent. Right, so there we are. That is another mission successful. So hopefully that's been useful for you. Maybe you've got an ICS rifle yourself that you're having a bit of trouble with these pesky hop chambers that, from my experience, tend to fail. Admittedly, this is something that when they're a few years old they do this, or mine was, and by the sounds of it, the person that owns this one has had it for a few years before it died on it. But yeah, a nice easy solution, so you can probably put any hop chamber you want in there. I quite like the basic plastic ones because I feel they do a really good job. They're nice and consistent, as we saw on the chrono. So yeah, hopefully that's been useful to you, and maybe it helps you solve the problems you might have with yours. But other than that, in the meantime, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one.